Welcome, Modern Talkers. This is Modern Talk. We're here now. I'm doing a video? Modern Talk. Why? I don't know exactly why. Mostly because I can. You might want to go back to the audio version if you're watching this, because my eyes are so piercing that you can't focus on what I'm saying. So, take that into consideration. So a lot has happened in my life recently, but I'm gonna shoot these out of order. So I guess this isn't the first one, which is weird that I'm addressing it now. But I think the last one that you guys heard was the one that I told you about the breakup, so you already know that. But this is the first one I'm doing, recording chronologically in my life. And so I just wanted to talk about a few things because I think it's interesting, and I hope people can get something out of it. It is so hot in here. It's under the lights, and the thermostat's set to 82 because there's no one in here besides me. And also I can't turn it on because it'll be too loud for the audio. So I'm just gonna sweat in front of you guys for a decent amount, and that's just how it's gonna be. But the first thing I wanted to talk about last night, since it's fresh, I play kickball. I know, hold for applause. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it sounds really dumb because I haven't played since like 3rd grade, but it's like a rec league or whatever, and someone last year was like, oh, I picked kickball. It's when you pick your nose and you kick it. I have kickball on Tuesdays, so I can't blah blah blah. I was like, oh, I'm on the team now, please? And she's like, oh no, it's like you have to pay and do all this stuff. It's like, oh, next year, like, if I'm still here, I want to be in on that. And she came through, and so I had to pay $50 to kick a ball every Tuesday, and we have shirts. Our team name is the Foot Clan. I didn't pick the name. I don't think it's a good name. I don't know. We're like right next to a highway. I don't know if you could hear there's airplanes that go past. So hopefully it's not too distracting for you and you guys can't hear it. But we're called the Foot Clan, and it's a black thing, which usually Klansmen are wearing white, so that's good that we're at least wearing a different color. But so the first 4 games that we played, we won, and that was great. And I played out of my mind, obviously, I just have that dog in me, bro. Like, it's like I consider myself a person that walks with a big stick but talks softly. I think that was Teddy Roosevelt, but I always thought that was a good way of living, because I love competing diographies. That's for sure not it. Diatribes, Dianetics, I think that's probably it. Dynamics, competing dynamics, so like I look like I'm a big scary guy, but I'm a teddy bear. So I think that's fun, and I wonder, now that I'm thinking about it, if I was a small, you know what, dude, that is interesting, because small people have that thing that generally they have that like Napoleon complex or whatever, and so they kind of overcompensate with being, wow, that's how you know, like, you're not so much of you is circumstantial. And if I was short, I probably would be aggressive and mean. Oh man, that's crazy. And this kind of brings it back into the story. It ties in at the end, but so I like to have fun, and I'm just like a silly goose, and you know, just down for a silly goose time, and that's it. But for some reason I love winning, and I'm a competitive person, and that took me a while to accept, but now I fully embrace it, and so it works out great for kickball, because for 4 years before I moved to Myrtle Beach, I played softball, and it was a church league. It was like really chill, but it was still competitive and fun. And then last year I moved here, and I didn't know or have anything to do sports wise, and I missed it, and so I'm thankful for this kickball thing, because I don't need it, but I just feel like it just brings me joy. And like, I watch sports all the time, like even more than ever before. I think COVID helped that a lot, and because COVID took it away, I wanted it more, and then I appreciated it more. So that's one of the positive things. Although I don't want to be a sports guy. Like, I like people that aren't sports people more generally, because it's so silly to like sports. It's a ball, and there's rules that everyone's just like abiding by arbitrarily, kind of, you know. It's silly, but I love it. But I think, and I have to watch this because it's such a fine line that it could get messed up, but I take it seriously but have fun with it. So like, I try my hardest, and I stretch like every day in the week so I don't get hurt, and you know, I just do extra stuff that normal people wouldn't do. And I hope that stuff kind of translates into my personal life, like creatively, where I do the little stuff right, and put myself in a position to be better. And yeah, so I play kickball that way too, which is so silly to sounding. Like, I just have this thought that kickball is for third grade, and I remember playing it literally in third grade, and I actually remember I kept being last. Like, people underestimated me. Like, they would put me in the back of the line, so I would be the last to kick and stuff. And actually, that's happening here, because since I'm new, people like kind of don't trust my ball abilities, kickballing abilities. So I don't know what to do with that, but that's kind of interesting. And that really happened in softball. This is kind of boring part, but since I was the new guy, they had no reason to trust me, and for some reason the guy who ran it had something against me. I don't know what it was. I don't know why it was, but he just like never gave me a chance and was hard on me. And I earned his respect a little bit the way I played, but he was just like not having me for some reason. So anyway, I wonder if that has anything to do with the competitiveness and kind of having a chip on my shoulder and doing like the little things right. So I've always felt like an outsider, and I like earning the respect. I don't like being the guy. I want to be the guy that we have to turn to him. There's no one else. He's our best option, and then I overperform. That's my favorite thing. So this is kind of the fun time in my kickball life because no one knew me. They had no reason to think I was any good, and so this is kind of fun for me. And so the first game, I actually don't remember, but I played well. Oh, I played really well my first game, and I can't remember any specifics, but the second game I made a bunch of mistakes, and they were all mistakes that were just because I'd never played since 3rd grade, and there's just like little rules that like, oh yeah, you start with a 1-on-1 count, so if you take 2 strikes, you're out. And I thought I had 3 strikes to work with, so I struck out on that one because the ball was bouncy and stuff, so I just took those pitches, which is really embarrassing to strike out in kickball because it's a ball rolling toward you and you either miss it or are too stupid to kick it. So it really doesn't feel good walking back to the dugout. And the dugout's just a cage. It's not like a cool thing where it actually goes in the ground. Why is it in the ground anyway? Why did that start? What is that about? I don't know. But and then so I kind of they were kind of like, okay, he has potential. He's he's squeaky. He needs some oil, but and no one told me this really, but I'm just kind of, that's how I'm thinking they're thinking. And probably most people are like not thinking about it because they're just like, it's a game, whatever, I'm having fun. This is the first time in a long time because it's a new season. And so we play 2 games at a time. So the next week, the first game, they put me at second, which is my preferred position right now. And well, it's for a couple of years, but I made a triple play, which I don't think I've ever done before, and it's very rare if you're not aware, because there's no outs and you could only get 3 outs, so getting 3 outs in one play is nice for the defense. So I'm sweating, and I have a meeting tomorrow or after this, so I'm gonna be sweaty at the meeting, and it's gonna be embarrassing, and I have to do public speaking there too, so it's just for a minute. But and the guy that I'm meeting here, I came here early, but the guy that I'm meeting here is gonna be here probably at 9, so I have 30-ish minutes maybe. So I do have more time than I thought. Okay, but I am sweaty, so I want to get this over with. Not over with. I miss you guys. I'm really glad to talk to you. This feels really good. But I need to air out my pits after this. So that's where I am at right now. So the triple play. I don't know if you guys care how it happened, but I'll try to keep it brief. So there's a guy on first and second, and the kicker kicked it just above the pitcher. So there's a guy on first and second. The guy hit it. I'm here. The guy hit it just above the pitcher, so it tipped up. I guess it should be this way, but now I'm too far into it. Tipped it up. I ran to catch it at second. This guy started running at second. I caught it, and as I caught it, I fell on second. So I caught the guy out who kicked it. That's 1 out. And then I fell on second base, so that's 2 outs in like one fell swoop. And then there was mass confusion because people didn't see that I fell on the base, so that I got them out. So they were yelling at me to do different things. And then in all the confusion, the person at first ran to second, but she didn't tag up because you can't run after the ball gets caught unless you're already on the bag. I know that doesn't make sense to people who don't know any of this, and I'm trying to make it accessible for everyone. But basically, they're like, touch her, and I touched her, and then they're still saying things, and then eventually the ump was like, all right, that's it, like 3 outs. And I didn't know how many outs there were. He just said, you're out. And then people were like, oh yeah, and then we ran off, and I didn't know that that was the 3rd out. I thought maybe we already had 1 out. I wasn't paying attention. I usually don't pay attention until there's 1 or 2 outs or something. So I didn't know it was a triple play, so I just ran off. I was like, oh, that was cool. Like, I caught it and stepped on the same thing. And then when I was in the dugout, the guy was like, yeah, that was a triple play. And I was like, oh, sweet. And I didn't, like, I don't know if I would have done anything differently, but it would have felt more satisfying if I actually knew that what I was doing was the right thing to do, because I was still a little rusty at that point. And wow, hopefully that wasn't boring. But a triple play is really rare, so I was really happy with that. And then the next game, I'm really I told this story to Ricky, like the true Modern Talker fans know who Ricky is, but he's my best friend from Pittsburgh, and I told him this story about me running. So I'm an aggressive runner. I like to keep them on their toes. I like to force them to at least try to get me out so that they make mistakes, and then I could take advantage of that. So with this particular one, I got on first with a great kick, probably. I don't remember for sure, but it's so funny to brag about kickball. I love that. So funny. It's so lame. That's the dichotomy. You got to take silly things seriously. But and vice versa. If it's a heart attack, I'm laughing at it. So I got on first, and then someone hit a little dinky kick, and while they were getting the person out at first, I was rounding second to get to third, because they were like really taking their time with it for some reason, trying to get that person out. And when I got to third, they threw it. I think I got in there pretty safe. Like, oh, what happened was I overran it. And I think someone asked me if I did that on purpose, and I don't think that I did, but I said yes because I didn't understand the question at the time. Because I thought he was saying, so I overran it, and the guy at third caught the ball, and he was like, and I was like, and so I went towards home plate a little bit just to like mess with him, and then he took the bait and he threw it at me, and I dove back and hit third and was safe. And then when he missed, so the ball went flying, and then I ran home, and actually I don't know if this is interesting or important, but the guy at home was the catcher who was trying to get me out was drunk. So he stood in the baseline, and I could tell that he wanted me to hit him. I was like, I'm not gonna hit you, dude. He's like 50 or something, and like white hair, maybe like 55 plus. But yeah, I went around him, and then they called me safe because he impeded me to get to the bag, and I didn't know that, so I like fell down. I ran around him and fell down on the plate because I didn't know if I had to dodge it at the last second if they were gonna throw it. But later, someone told me that I was already safe by the time before I even touched the bag. And then later, my next at bat, the catcher goes like under his breath. He's like, if you try to come around here again, I'm gonna take you out, or something like that. And I was like, bro. I didn't hear him at first because, like I said, he did it like under his breath, like not looking at me and like being a scaredy cat about it in a way. And and so by the time I like heard it and processed it, I was just like, what? So then I was like, okay, I gotta kick again and make you embarrassed. So those two things, and it's stunk because I like got all you can't really see it now, but I got like all scraped up from it because I was falling around on the bags and stuff, and we won by like 5, so they didn't need that extra run, but you never know. So I'm glad I did it. And I think that's when I earned the respect of the teammates. They're like, oh, this guy came to play. So yeah, that's that story. So those were the last 2 weeks. So yesterday there's a bug on that literally walked across the lens, and I don't know if that you could see that, but that was funny. So the first game, our like captain guy who runs everything, he couldn't be there yesterday, and so we had people that had to fill in for him, obviously, and it just was like bad from the get-go, and we weren't playing right. People got hurt, and it was just. And one of our players is super competitive, and he's like a guy that he takes it too seriously, and there's no silliness to him. He gets a tiny bit silly when we're winning, but if we're like losing it all, he like cusses at us. And I'm like, bro, we're on the same team. Why are you cussing at me? And he's like 50 something too, probably, and he's from Pittsburgh, so he's got that like, blue collar hard nose in him, and like hot head, kind of what you think of a stereotypical Pittsburgher, I guess. Like, I don't know if he did, but like working a steel mill kind of deal, but he's really good, so we can't like kick him off the team, because he's really negative, and that really started us off into a downward spiral, and it's a co-ed team, like I said, because I told you the girl who invited me to play is a girl. The girl is a girl, and so. I don't know if any of this is interesting. I can't really tell. I hope it is. I could always just fix it in post. But how are my eyes looking? So he's really competitive, and we can't get him off the team because he's too good, but he took us into a downward spiral of negativity. So I caught you up. And and so he kept doing that, and then it infected other teammates, and they were getting down on themselves because of him. And so we lost the game by 1. And at that point we were undefeated, which was which really hurt because I felt like we could have beat them for sure if we had everyone and we were 100% healthy and all the things like that. And then the next team was really good, but I think we could have beat them too. The thing was, we were already down on ourselves, and we had a bad first inning where the ball shape, it was pumped up too much. Like, this is so stupid. Like, oh, the ball kickball game was really hard because the ball was oblong. Like, that's such a stupid. I just want you to know that I hear it. I hear it too. So our team was complaining a lot about the ball, like, oh, the ball, and they're playing with the same ball, so why? You can't get mad. It's a fair game. It's not like they switch out the balls like the Patriots. We're playing the same ball, so we just need to take advantage of that too, and we just couldn't for some reason, and but I kept trying to keep positive, and everyone was like, oh, the ball, or, blah, blah, blah. But basically, everyone recognized that I was being positive, and they really appreciated that. So I think I've positioned myself as a budding leader, which is exciting, but also not as satisfying as being the guy overachieving and not expected of him to do that. So, but that's exciting. It's a new, in 6 games or whatever, I've positioned myself as a possible leader. So that's cool. And actually, the girl pitching, that was filling in for the guy that, like, our team captain that couldn't be there, she disagreed with the umpire and she walked off of the field. That was definitely the low point of the game, and I could tell, like I said, that she was spiraling. So I was like, are there timeouts? Can we do a timeout? Like, can we regroup for a second? And then later she talked about how we have a group chat on Facebook, and she said, hey guys, I'm sorry that I kind of went crazy out there. I'm quitting cigarettes, and I have kidney stones that I'm trying to work through, and I have bad circulation to my hip. But in the group chat, I tried to stay positive and was like, we're proud of you for trying to quit cigarettes. It's bounce back next week. This is a good lesson that you never know what people are going through. So try to be compassionate, something like that. And then, like I said, also, maybe you should have started quitting cigarettes in the off season as a joke. And then she messaged back, I bought a pack, with like a crying emoji. I was like, oh geez. So that's sad, but I'm glad that she like owned up to what was happening. But I was gonna try to tie that back into something I said earlier about people's circumstances are so influential to how their life is. So her circumstance was quitting cigarettes and kidney stones and blood flow to the hips, but like me, my circumstance actually helped me, I think, in a way that I was blessed with being tall and scary. So because I could have taken it the way of like the jock of like, oh, I'm this big and scary looking guy, so I'm gonna be big and scary, but that's boring. I want to be well balanced. I've always wanted to have like a balance like that, so that's why I guess I chose the way I am. But to some extent, you don't choose it, but at some point I did. So I don't know. That's what I wanted to say. But I felt great. So we lost that one, obviously, and we got mercy ruled, which means they scored so many points on us that there's literally no way we could win, so they just called the game. And that was like 3 innings in, and we usually play 7. So so they just scored a bunch more runs, and then I tried to stay positive. I was like, come on guys, it's not over, like, don't quit. Because it was definitely, people were like, oh, like, this is a lost cause. I could feel it. So I said, it's not over, guys. And then the umpire, like, did the math, and because that's like a certain amount of runs, like 20 runs or something, more than the other team is a mercy rule. So so he did the little math on his thing, and he's like, that's game. And I was like, all right, it's over, guys. So then we ran in and stuff, and people were like, yeah, trying to figure out what went wrong and stuff like that. But it was just, we were negative. And we were playing tight because the negativity was like constraining on us. And so then but since I felt I kept my composure, I kept my positiveness, I kept who I was deep inside me there, and I was helping other people try to stay there, because a couple of people were like, yeah, Tommy, I love your energy, like, that's great. But some other people were just like so negative, and it's hard because it's a rec league. There's varying levels of competitiveness. Like, some people just want to like kind of hang out with people for 2 hours or whatever, and some people want to win, and I'm 100% in both, I feel like. So but because I'm in 100% of both, I'm not like too serious or too silly. So with those being varying levels of competitiveness and stuff, there's a large part that I'm not responsible for a win or a loss, especially since I'm just one player. Like, you could definitely have an effect, and I try to, but ultimately, if I play good, we could still lose, and that's okay because I did my part, and so I feel good about that. And when I don't know if this is like the right thing to do or to feel, but even if we lose, or even if we win and I play badly, I still obviously don't feel good about it. It's definitely better than losing, but I still feel like, well, I didn't help, so like, what's the point of enjoying the win if I didn't play well? So I'm pretty sure sports analysts would have something to say about that, but since no one's analyzing my play because I play kickball at 6 o'clock in Myrtle Beach against 50-year-olds, that no one's gonna be analyzing or mad how I play or how I feel about playing. And I shave my nipple hair now, and that's how that is. I never did, and I have it like all around the nip there, and I never thought to do it, and someone said I should. A couple people said I should, actually, embarrassingly. And so I was like, yeah, after this breakup, this makes sense. I'm gonna, start fresh with bald nipples. Because my thought was always that they would get like coarse, like that's a thing that happens when you shave something for the first time, that it gets coarse and stuff. But I was like, they're already pretty coarse and not attractive, so I might as well cut them. So, we'll see how that plays out. I'd like to talk to you guys about shaving armpit hair as a guy. I do it because I sweat, and if I put my armpits up right now, you would see sweat, and I'm sure that helps to have shorter hair. And it's not like I have no hair. It's like enough to be like, oh yeah, he has hair. It's all good. But it's gross when it's like really long and straggly. So I trim it. I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. So I got rid of everything from my last girlfriend. I have it all still. It's just in one place so that I don't see it, to try to help myself get over everything, because I don't like throwing things away, and I have fond memories there, but I don't want it in my face right now. So the only things that I have that still remain physically of her is, I had a bracelet that she gave me, well, two. So this one, and which came off her like drug rug hoodie. It was like hanging off, and yellow's my favorite color, and it was her favorite color, and she ripped it off and then tied it around me like as a kind of joke forever ago. And it's so, I don't know if you could tell, but it's like really just seems like it's gonna break any second, and it seemed like that from the start. So it's always been amazing that it's stayed on, and I couldn't bring myself to take it off. I've never put on something on my ankle or wrist or whatever and taken it off. It's always come off some way or another in my life, ever. So I don't know if that's like an OCD thing where I have it on and it's just gonna stay on until something happens. So I kept both on, and you could probably see the tan line from the other one. So I wore that one still because they were like crystals or something, and I should know exactly what it was, but it symbolized like hope and peace for me. So I thought that was good enough to keep on no matter what. And I thought this would come off first. So I would like, we're on speaking terms, like we still respect each other and everything. So I thought I would show her like, oh, this finally came off, but the other one somehow came off. I threw it really hard from the outfield, and it just like flung off, and I thought it just like flung off, but it completely ripped off. So I like threw it really hard, but it barely went anywhere because it was the oblong ball. Anyway, so I still don't know how to feel about this. I definitely don't feel positively about it. But I still can't bring myself to take this off either. And relationships are just so hard, especially when you break up. So, what do you do? I don't know. And ever since the breakup, I've felt like I've been in a funk, and I've barely done anything productive in my life, creatively. Thankfully, I've done a lot of maintenance and upkeep in like just my everyday kind of routine, and like all the dishes are clean all the time, and my room's always nice and stuff like that. And I've been going to Target like every other day on average. So sometimes twice a day, sometimes every day, sometimes 3 times a week, whatever. But like I don't know, I think it's like me wanting to have order in my life, and so that is comforting. But I also think I'm satisfied with just keeping up with being a human, that I don't do anything productive creatively. So I've just been stuck in this funk, and just been sad, like a general sadness all the time. And yesterday was summer solstice, and that has a historical whatever of symbolism of renewal and stuff like that. So I read that yesterday, and then during the game, or after the game, I really felt like I turned a corner, and I don't know if it was the placebo effect of knowing it was summer solstice, and that is a historical thing for kind of revitalization of things, but I felt like it worked, and I feel I'm doing this. I didn't do anything like this for like a month, and I tried to enjoy that too, but it was always, oh dang, this is not helpful. And I wish I enjoyed it more now, because I know that's how I am. I'm super productive for a month, sometimes a day, sometimes you never know with me, and I'm trying more and more to be more consistent, like getting up at 6:30 every day. I did that for a long time, and that really worked, because you just have more day, and you could do stuff before people expect anything of you. That's what I like. No expectation, and then exceeding that exponentially. And yeah, I feel like I turned a corner, and I'm back to being creative, and that's super important to me. And I don't know where I'm gonna go from here, because of I have no reason to be anywhere, really. So I'm kind of just living it day by day, and I want to be more creative more, but I don't know in what way is the best way to achieve the goals that I want, and I don't even 100% know what the goals are that I want, and that's the first step, and that's the hardest step as well, which is so annoying that the first step is the hardest step. But once you know, then you could backtrack, or I don't know if that's the right term, but reverse engineer what you want. Like your goal is to, like my goal, but my goal is to be a traveling stand-up comedian, but I don't want that to be, I can't do just that right now, although I could move. Man. But then I don't have money to move, and when I get to where I move, I don't know how to make money right away, at least. Although I didn't know how to make money here, and then I figured it out. You know, so I don't know. But I feel like I turned a corner, and I don't know if it was summer solstice or what, but I'm thankful that it's this now. And you know, when it rains, it pours, and I don't know if raining or pouring is the good one or not, but metaphorically in my life, it felt like it was pouring negatively for a while, and then now it feels like it's sunny and I can do stuff, and I'll see where this takes me. But this has been In Touch with Tommy. I don't know what number this is. Oh, wow, perfect timing. I gotta go. So keep in touch, and I hope this made you think.
Welcome, Modern Talk. This is Modern Talk. Modern Talk. Modern Talk. Modern Talk. I hope this made you think. Why? How?
This is really weird.